Mark Pope is the most athletically talented of those guys. Rob Likens went on the radio and was talking about the fact that he's, one of the more elite players in a couple of different areas that he's ever coached and seen. And again, Rob Likens has had a first-round draft pick or wide receiver in each of the last two NFL drafts, and Brandon Ayuk and N'Keal Harry from his Arizona State days. But yeah, I think that, if there's anybody who can break out in a spread offense, it's Mark Pope. D. Wiggins can be consistent at the X. Harley should be, between maybe a Z and a slot, depending if you go, 2x2, so 4 wide receivers, you can have 2 slots. So then you can, bring guys and play them in multiple positions and things like that. So, I think that those three, I still maintain that Keyshawn Smith from San Diego is going to take somebody's spot. He was just a steal of all steals in last recruiting class. I think that he's going to see the field this year. I think that some older player is going to lose reps to him in this season just because he's a perfect fit for a passing air raid offense, because he was going to go to Washington State as certified by Mike Leach. And look, I know that he was only a 3-star and blah, 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 but Mike Leach says this is a guy that I want in my passing offense as a wide receiver to make plays. I really don't need to hear much more than that. You know what I mean? And then I watched the film. You see that he moves like Stacey Coley. He is 6'1", 6'1.5". His brothers are 6'4" and 6'5". His father is 6'5". His uncle is 6'5" or 6'6". So he could even grow an inch or two. I'm all on the number 88 Keyshawn Smith train. I've been there. I'm captaining that thing. Choo, choo, let's go. But yeah, you mentioned 3 guys, but I don't think it's going to be only 3. I think it's going to be 6 or 7 contributing wide receivers. I think that 4 or 5 of them are going to have substantial statistics this year. And you might have one guy not necessarily be the 70 catch, 1,300 yard, 15 touchdown guy, but you're going to spread that more. And I think that will make Miami more dynamic and dangerous, because you can't just key on one guy. Because, if you think back to 2018, 17, when you could take away Amon Richards, then you could affect the offense. And yeah, he was injured that year because he was a freshman in 16, set records, literal, was injured in and out of the lineup in 17, and then obviously, had to retire and things like that. But when he was going, if you could take away 82, you could really affect the offense. In this scheme, with guys who are, there's a variety of guys who can make plays. I think they're going to see a little bit more of it being spread out. So if you take away a Mike Harley, you take away a Mark Pope, there's somebody else who can make plays. And I think that's going to be a thing that really helps the offense.
Luke Walker, we know you're excited about the Heels. We know that you've been garbage for a few years and you're excited about the great recruiting and Sam Howell, but come on. Okay, he was tremendous for a true freshman to step on the field week 1 against South Carolina, down 2 scores in the fourth quarter, lead a comeback, throw 38 touchdowns, take a 2-win team to 7. All those things are great, but Jim Kelly's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Bernie Kosar had a accomplished NFL career, and I could keep going and going and going.
Vinny Testaverde won a Heisman. He had a 20-year NFL career. You know what I mean? I get what you're doing. I get that you're standing up for your team, but the hyperbole is not necessarily necessary, and it's just simply not true at this point. Could he be better? Could he win 2 Heismans? Could he be the number 1 overall pick? Could he set all the records in the NFL? And we look back at this in 20 or 25 years and say, wow, Luke Walker was not right on that day in 2020. But in 2025, at the end of this magnificent career, he could be right. Sure. So I'm not going to say that it's not possible. But right now, for a program that has 5 national championships and could honestly have more, if Vinny Testaverde didn't throw it to Penn State 18 times at that 86 Fiesta Bowl and things like that, bro, breaks, find them, stomp on them, pump them, pull the e-brake, whatever you got to do. But stop that.
There's a kid playing high school football right now out there who's going to be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
But we don't know who that is.
And I'm not going to take anything away from him, but I'm also not going to say that kid is now better than any QB in Miami history. And Miami for a time was known as QBU. Look up the numbers. Look up the numbers.
Dwight Cook also making a good point. It seems rather obvious, but we really haven't addressed it to a certain extent, at least not here. I don't think that it's one thing to have a great pass rusher like a Greg Rousseau And I know that Miami's quality along the defensive front has been really good over the last several seasons, but it's another thing to bring in the Quincy Roche on the other side, where you have to deal with two of those jets coming off each edge.
And it's
What do you
another
do?
thing.
How do you swing that offensive front? Which direction?
I mean, yeah, you're going to chip defensive ends. You're going to double team. You're going to like scheme and try to say, okay, like Russo got to the quarterback last play, so maybe he's tired. So maybe we're going to go on the Roche side and things like that. But what we're discounting then by mentioning only those two by name is Jalen Phillips was the #1 overall recruit in America 3 years ago. As in, from every recruiting outlet, they said the list of all recruits playing football who are going to the college level, #1 is Jalen, and then everybody else. He's on this roster now. He redshirted last year. He's back playing. He's gained like 30 pounds of muscle over the course of almost a year and a half since he's been in Miami. So don't talk to me about Zion Nelson with this quick weight gain. No. That's not it. He had a redshirt season. He was in the weight room while the team was traveling because he couldn't travel. So that's one. Then you bring in Jafari Harvey, also from up the road here in the 561. Shout out to Kev. And he's here. And he's another guy who's quick and twitchy and makes plays as a sophomore. So now you got 4 top-level defensive ends on this roster. And that's not even talking about the defensive tackles. Like, yeah, Miami should be eating up top or on the defensive line. And a lot of people have said, and I saw it with CBS, I saw it with 247, probably a couple other ones, that Miami, if you're making a dream team this year of the position rooms, so I'm taking the quarterbacks from Oklahoma, I'm taking the running backs from Georgia and things like that, the defensive line that you're putting in that elite group is from the University of Miami. Because we're stacked on talent. Now, obviously, they have to perform to that, and the defensive line has been doing pretty well over the last couple of years. But it's not just Gregory Rousseau. It's not just Quincy Roche, who is the current reigning American Conference Defensive Player of the Year. They are where the conversation starts, obviously. I've seen lots of NFL draft people who are saying, oh, I was evaluating tape for next year's draft. I started looking, Gregory Rousseau, he's that guy. Nah, he's a redshirt sophomore, 3rd year in the program. So he's an academic junior. He's a sophomore in terms of eligibility. So he has 2 more years past this year if we're to play, to be in college. He's that dude. He's that guy. If you're an NFL team, you need to take him in the top 5 because he's like that. Then you talk about Quincy Roche, who's probably like a 6 to 10 as range as in terms of defensive ends available in this class. So you're talking, late 1st round, early 2nd round in terms of his talent. But again, that's where the conversation starts. It's not where it ends because, like I've shown you over the last couple of minutes, we can continue and talk about more and more and more and more. And that's why there is confidence and optimism about the defense because of the stacked nature of the defensive line this year.
So you don't want to be weak at linebacker. That's obviously not a good thing to be weak anywhere. But if you're going to be weak somewhere, inexperienced, maybe not weak, we'll see. But it's the linebacking unit behind that defensive front.
Inexperienced, but way more athletic than in years past. So you have Zach McLeod, who took a red shirt as a true senior, and now he's a 5th-year senior. Then you have Sam Brooks. Then you have Avery Huff. And those guys are incredibly athletic. I mean, I know you're probably not going to play all 3 of them together because, you're going to want to do one of those strikers or that hybrid safety linebacker outside, or that 3rd person there. But I mean, you're getting way more athletic. And look, I love Shaq Quarterman. I love Michael Pinckney, and they made lots of plays here. But you simply just upgraded the athleticism at that 2nd level. So, I mean, yeah, those guys are ready. And like I said, you have a 5th-year senior in Zach McLeod who's going to hopefully be holding things down and making plays there as well. But yeah, I think they're going to work together in that front 7 to make things happen.